All right, guys. I am here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, see some of you are joining. So as you're joining, just so you guys know, for some reason, and maybe this is this Mercury retrograde pre-shadow, I cannot switch between a camera and the slides. So if you could just do me a favor, let me know if you hear me. Let me know if you hear guac purring in the background. I just want to make sure I get everybody back in here too. I'm joining late. Quack, you're purring so loud. Letting some last minute people in. Okay, all right, cool. So you can hear me. Okay, so my new little kitten. I guess it's for the best that you can't see me because right now I am elbow deep in kittens, and they while Chips and Guac are making my life absolutely full and amazing, they are definitely taking a lot of my attention. So I figured that in order for this to be the best masterclass, it was more important for me to show you the slides of everything that I compiled rather than just showing you my face. And hopefully with my voice, you guys can see just how amazingly passionate I am about this subject because I have compiled, honestly, one of the best masterclasses ever with this. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, give me a shout if you're here, say hi. Again, you can read the slide. So I'm just gonna be kind of rolling through this. What I'm gonna do as well is have a Q&A portion at the end, as always. So I'll be able to answer all of your questions at the end, but I will be rolling through this without answering questions because I do tend to get very distracted. So I'm gonna wait a few more minutes because there was about 260 people that signed up for this masterclass. I know a lot of them are gonna have to make the replay. A lot realized they didn't have Facebook, so I'm not gonna wait around forever, but I do wanna wait a couple more minutes just to make sure everybody can get in. And I'm really, really excited for this. I wish you guys could see Guacamole. He is so cute. I'm so happy with him. All right, we have 10 people are here. Okay, honestly, it's kind of late for me, so I think that we waited enough time. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started, if that is okay with everyone else. Guac, stop it. You're just gonna hear me wrestling with this kitten the whole time. But you can't see him, what a tease. Okay, so again, for anybody that is just joining now, Facebook Live doesn't have an option to switch between the live screens and the slides, and I thought the slides were more important to show you than my face. You guys know what I look like. And in addition to that, we're gonna have to deal with it. I tried to do a third party and it was really laggy. It just wasn't efficient. And I was like, you know what? No one's gonna be able to concentrate on that. It's just much better if we continue this way. So we're almost 5 minutes in. I think it's time to get started. Okay, awesome. Hello, hello, hello. Cool. So let's get in it. All right. So I'm gonna pull over the comments just in case something weird happens, but let's just get into it. So the 6 things keeping you from abundance and how to shift out of scarcity. Who the frick is excited? I am so stoked to bring you all of this content. I think one of the biggest things that I see with people that are not able to manifest what they desire is a lack of self-awareness. And that's what this class is really going to get into. We're going to highlight a bunch of things that are keeping you in that lack cycle. And then we're going to tell you how to get out of it. So what you'll be learning is the 6 ways you're screwing yourself out of true wealth and how you can fix them now so you can stop circling the drain of lack. Dramatic. Okay. So, for those of you that do not know me, because I know that there's quite a few of you that have either come from TikTok or from an ad that I ran, I had a lot of you actually this round. So if you do not know me, my name is Shawn Engel. I started Witchy Wisdoms about 3 years ago. I'm a business coach and a spiritual mentor that teaches intentional social media strategy and content creation, and I used to be right where you are. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story with abundance first. So, like many of us, my abundance story started with my parents. My parents were fairly wealthy, I'll be honest. They both came from really well-off backgrounds, or probably middle class, I would say. But my father's father ran companies. He was a CEO. My dad was a CEO. My mother came from a middle-class Jewish family, and they didn't have, they weren't like in the poorhouse. They were very much middle class. However, they both had lack mindsets that were passed down from generations of their parents being in the Great Depression. Everything had to do with frugality. Everything had to do with nothing was enough. So my neuroses and my anxiety around money started from a very tender age. I started working at the age of 13, and even though I was 13 with really nowhere to spend my money, this is actually how I got into my drug addiction. I never thought that I had enough. And when a 13-year-old should really probably only have like a $10 allowance, I was working 2 or 3 jobs at a time while doing school and constantly felt like I was in lack mode. I never had enough. And even if I hit a goal of having enough, like let's say I needed to make a certain amount of money in a night and I made it, it still wasn't enough. Nothing felt enough. I struggled constantly with relationships and boundaries, giving my all to receive nothing in return. And that's a part of this lack mindset too. Just like nothing could ever be enough. It could never meet me at that point to where I felt like I had a fulfilling life, like I had abundance. I was just constantly scraping, and I was eternally like stuck in this cycle that I couldn't get out of. And I constantly felt like I was in victim mode, and I just kept thinking, why is this happening to me? But then, once I stepped into abundance, and this honestly was not just one step in, this was a lot of hard work and a lot of trying to teach myself self-awareness and going into therapy and all of this good stuff. But once I did, and once I started opening my eyes and lifting that veil, I got the help that I needed to heal. I created Witchy Wisdoms, which now is a self-sustaining business that has about 50,000 followers collectively all over social media. I've made so much for my business that I'm self-employed. I've cultivated great friendships, and my abundance just friggin' multiplies. So, let me ask you, do any of these sound familiar? It'll be fine when blank. As long as I have blank, then I'll be blank. If only I had blank, I could be happy. If any of those sound familiar, then you are living in lack. And I will tell you why. When you say, it'll be fine when, you're holding the universe hostage to being fine instead of acknowledging that you already are. And that means that you will never feel fine because you're waiting for the universe to hand you this thing, and then you can be quote unquote fine. As long as I have blank, then I'll be blank. In this instance, you are equating your worth to something that is material and completely out of your control. It doesn't belong to you in the first place, and so you will never achieve peace. And what I mean by that is, like, as long as I have, let's say, as long as I have $50, then I'll be happy. And let's say that $50 is to get you some, I don't know, like a purse you've been wanting or something. You're totally negating what the value is and what the journey is, and you're equating your worth to a $50 handbag. Like, your happiness is only worth that. And you're really cheating yourself out of it. Now, if only I had blank, I could be happy, which is very similar to the second one. And in this instance, you're not allowing yourself to experience any type of joy until something is received. So you're forever chasing the dragon. Because literally, how many times have you said, oh, if I can only get this kitten, then I'll be happy. And then you get a kitten, and then you want another kitten. It's never going to be enough unless you start living in abundance. So, what is the secret? How do we shift? First off, we need to unpack exactly what abundance is. So when you look at the dictionary terms, it says abundance is a very large quantity of something, which, sure, in layman's, that's absolutely what it is. But it's so much more than that. Abundance is 1 part availability, 1 part self-awareness, and 1 part fulfillment. And all of this comes from within. It's not granted, it's focused practice. So what do I mean by availability? Availability is the deep knowing that whatever you need, desire, and cherish is there for you. But more on that later. We are not talking about availability today. What we are talking about is self-awareness. And we're going to do this by identifying the 6 things that are keeping you from abundance. All right, is everyone with me still? Oh, yay. Oh, Rachel, thank you. Okay, cool. So let's bring awareness to how we are living in lack. So number 1, you're cluttering your mind with the negative. You're focusing on what you're lacking. You're searching for what can go wrong. You're ignoring your beliefs. You're devaluing yourself. And you're asking for it all. And all of this sounds super harsh and scary. And some of it you might know that you're doing. Some of it you might not feel like you're doing. But we're going to unpack literally all of these. So first, number 1, you're cluttering your mind with the negative. So what you're actually doing when you're doing this is you're allowing negativity to take up room in your brain. Your brain has, and your memory and your focus has finite space. So you're allowing negativity to take up room in it. And it's harmful because when negativity exists, it multiplies, creating a toxic environment that you're imprisoned in. Have you ever had that friend where they're constantly complaining and then all of a sudden you start complaining all the time? It's literally like a virus. And when you start focusing on negativity, it just grows. And it's not going to allow you to focus on the things that you actually have around you. So how you can change this is you need to start creating space for gratitude by expelling the negative. You need to get it the fuck out of your way. You need to get it out. You need to release the negativity. And if that means you need a venting sesh where you get real petty with a friend and then you stop, the whole point is that you're getting out and then you need to just quit doing it altogether. Get it out, get over it. Because otherwise, if you keep focusing on it, what you focus on grows. So just make sure that you know that when you are doing certain things like this, you're poisoning your brain. Number 2, you're focusing on what you are lacking. And what you're doing when you do this is you're amplifying the negative because of number 1. So if you're constantly have this like running theme in your head where you're focusing on the negative, right? And then you start, because of that number 1, because you're focusing on the negative, you're then focused on all the things you don't have. You're basically creating this vacuum that this virus can exist on. So instead of saying like, okay, well, this was really shitty, but here's all the cool things that are happening, you're making it like you're basically taking a stepladder down and you're circling again. Circling that drain of lack is probably the best metaphor that I have, because when you go from point A, which is thinking about everything negatively and then starting to focus on the things that you're lacking, you continuously going down that stepladder. And the reason why this is harmful is it repeats the cycle of negativity clutter. It continuously clutters your brain, and it's harder and harder to climb out of shit like this when the deeper that you go. So if you're able to like be petty and have a venting sesh with a friend and then get off of that step number one, it's way easier than if you're going from, okay, well, that was really shitty. That was really shitty. Oh, wait, now I don't have this because of this thing. It's honestly like, it's just like climbing out of a manhole. So how you can change it is you need to start focusing on what you have by expressing gratitude. So again, you're having that venting sesh with a friend and you're just like needing to be a little bit petty about whatever happened in your life. Once you get it all out, then you can start saying, oh, but this happened and it's okay because at least I still have my health, or I still have my little kitten, or whatever it is that you need to start expressing gratitude for. But if you don't combat that, you're just going to keep digging yourself that like grave of lack. What you focus on grows, and I cannot express that more emphatically. All right. Got more people. Cool. All right. Everybody's with me still, right? We're on number 2. Cobain's. Okay. So, number 3. You're searching for what can go wrong. And this is like, honestly, again, it's human. It's the human condition. You're human. Obviously, these things are going to be happening. But again, the whole point of self-awareness is to be able to pull yourself out of it. And instead of searching for what can go wrong, let's unpack this first. So what you're doing when you're searching for what can go wrong is you're preparing yourself for disaster by expecting the worst. And this can feel like you're doing yourself a service. You're basically making sure that you have a foundation in case the world caves in or the apocalypse happens. And so you're searching for what can go wrong out of sheer safety and out of sheer mammalian protection. However, it is harmful because you're driving yourself into a frenzy for absolutely no reason. Honestly, I just had an instance like this where I had a really unfortunate circumstance happen with a friend. And I kept driving myself into a frenzy saying, oh my God, what if this happens? What if I, lose everything? And it took obviously like a couple venting sessions and a couple of great friends and a therapist to pull me out of it. But the self-awareness aspect was like, listen, if you continuously think about the worst thing that's going to happen, you could manifest it. Or what you could do is instead of being like, because I think also when we think an abundant mindset, we think that we're going to be more aloof and then we're going to get blindsided if something does go wrong, and then we'll be totally unprepared. And that panic is what keeps us hanging on to this number 3, the searching for what can go wrong. But really, you're not replacing it with aloofness at all. What you're doing is you're maintaining a self-awareness. You are creating a space in which you are protected. However, you're not driving yourself into an anxious frenzy, and you're allowing yourself the space to surrender and let things happen and then heal accordingly. So what you can do to change is just that, is find evidence for what can go right. And even if it's one of those things where it feels like no matter what, the world is going to come crashing down, you can still breathe through it in a way that doesn't make everything feel super duper hard. Awareness is not panic. All right. Number 4, we are burning through these. I thought this was going to be a way longer session, but I think I'm just like, I don't know, I love this subject so much, so I'm just like powering through. All right, so number 4, and this is where we're getting deep into the shadow, all right? So you're ignoring your beliefs, whether you know it or not. And what you're doing when you do this is you're unknowingly holding your desires up to contradicting beliefs. And how it's harmful is you're creating an environment in which you always fail. So So, for example, when I talk about beliefs, I'm thinking about things that are super embedded in you. So, for example, like when I was talking about my money story and my lack and like my parents, we always had enough. In fact, everybody always has enough because there's an abundance of resources and you always will have enough. You will always be able to survive. But we constantly had this anxiety around the well running dry. And so there was this like frantic energy around money and having to hold it and being really frugal. So while we're trying to grow abundance and trying to grow wealth, we're constantly thinking that it's going to go away someday. And so those contradicting beliefs are never allowing us to not only attain more wealth, but maintain it because we're constantly like, I mean, any of my tarot readers constantly in this Four of Pentacles position where we're holding on for dear life to our resources. Sorry if you're hearing Guac. He just took a break to go eat, and he eats really loud. So you're creating an environment in which you always fail. So how you can change this is you need to shine a light on your shadow because your beliefs are just stories. Now, this is a free masterclass, so I am not going to go fully in depth on how to do this, but doing shadow work on your beliefs are really going to help pull you out of this. And to be completely honest, if you stick around, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this, and I'm going to give you every single way that you need to unpack your shadow. So if you're not familiar with shadow work, you should stick around. So, number 5. You're devaluing yourself. And this sounds harsh and sad, but honestly, I see this happen all the time to people, and it makes me so sad because when you're devaluing yourself, it's kind of obvious to somebody that holds value in what they're doing. So what you're doing unknowingly is convincing yourself that you're not worthy by living in desperation. And what I mean by this, especially for my business owners that are joining in, I know this isn't necessarily a what's called business masterclass. It's for my entire audience. But for my business owners, like how many times have you tried to chase a sale and been so desperate to get a sale going that you either discounted yourself too much or you set your prices way too low to begin with, or you signed a client that wasn't an ideal fit just because you really needed it, or, in terms of relationships rather than just money. How many times did you date that guy or girl that was like way beneath your standards, but you thought that since, nobody else was chomping at the bit, that was probably the best you were going to get, so you gave him a chance. I mean, listen, you don't have to say if you relate, but I know that you do. So convincing yourself that you're not worthy by living in desperation is really fucking harmful. And it's harmful because you're convincing the universe that you have no boundaries, and it sees that. The universe is like, oh, this girl, she'll go for anything. It's fine. So you constantly are in this state of desperation. It's like you're asking for it. And again, what you're focusing on grows. So how you can change it is you need to start knowing your worth. And you need to allow room for a yes when you say no. So I'm going to go a little bit into this too, because I think that one of the biggest sources of panic in terms of abundance is if you start setting boundaries and you start saying no to things, they're like all the resources are running dry. And that right there is a lack mindset. If you turn down a date from the only guy that's hitting you up and you think that he's the only person on earth, that is a lack mindset. If you turn down a client that's clearly not a good fit for you, or if you don't turn down a client that's clearly not a good fit for you because you need the money super bad and you don't think that any other clients are going to come through the door, you are living in a lack mindset. And the same goes for people that aren't running their own businesses. Like if you take any job, if you're literally sitting in the interview position and you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't feel right. I don't really like this person's vibe. I don't really like this company, but I probably won't get another job, so I'll just say yes if they offer it to me. You are living in a lack mindset. I'll say it again. I'll scream it for the back. You're living in lack. You gotta say no. Saying no is the most powerful, energetic boundary you can place. It's energetic, it's physical, it's tangible. It is the most powerful fucking thing that you can do. And it's hard and it takes practice, but start doing it now. Number 6, the final step. You are asking for it all. So, we'll unpack this too. What you're doing is you're letting anything and everything in. And how it's harmful is it enforces that your boundaries are not strong. So again, when you are saying yes to just about anything from the previous slide, or yes because you don't think anything else is coming through the door, that's harmful. What I mean by this particular instance is you're not manifesting in specifics because you don't think that certain things are possible for you. So let's say that you really, really, really need a new apartment, or want a new apartment, or want a new roommate, or anything like in that kind of realm. And you just say to the universe that anything will do. It's enforcing that your boundaries are not strong. You're not, like, you need to start listing specifics. Like, I want water pressure that's really strong. I want hot, hot, hot water. I want a dishwasher. I want a bathtub, non-negotiable. And again, like, it seems like, especially if you're living in this lack mindset, that you'll never find an apartment that are going to fit those specificities. And that you're actually being exclusionary to the universe because you're setting all these specificities. However, really what you're doing is calling in the thing that you want because you have standards. Do you see how that's different? So how you can change it, again, is start getting specific. Have standards and stick by them. Remember your worth. Do you see how these 6 things flow into each other? Once you start valuing yourself, then you can get specific and be a badass and just be like, you know what? Fuck that. I am worth a bathtub, or I am worth a guy that like treats me right. You know, there's so many things in this world that we put up with for no reason because we're living in a lack mindset. And the beauty of all of this, the beauty of shifting from lack to abundance, is that it's literally just lifting the veil. Nothing really changes except your perception. And then the universe is like, oh, this girl gets it. And all of a sudden, everything starts stacking up. But what happens too, especially with people that are living in this lack mindset, is they'll come to a masterclass like this. They'll try things once. It won't work right away. And then they will continuously, because they're cynical and because they want to stay in the lack mindset because it's comfortable, won't practice it anymore. And they'll get impatient and then they'll just stay stuck. So what you can do to be right outside of that and to grow and to continue into abundance is this. We're going to recap first and then we're going to go into it. So recapping the 6 things. I went on a tangent, sorry. I'm hyped on this. I'm honestly like, this is my favorite subject. So recap. You are living in lack by these 6 things. You're cluttering your mind with the negative. Then you're focusing on what you're lacking. You're then searching for what can go wrong. You're ignoring your beliefs underneath it all. You're devaluing yourself. And then you're asking for it all because of that. And this is the way you fix each one of those. You create space for gratitude, number 1. Then you focus on what you have. You search for what can go right. You shine a light on your shadow. You know your worth, and then you get specific based on your worth. So, what about fulfillment? What about those other key things? And availability. What you have learned in this masterclass is barely skimming the surface of your journey with abundance. And what is possible for you is so great you can't even imagine it yet. This is why I've created Amplifying Abundance. This is my 6-week course that is coming out literally today. You are the first people to hear about it. Designed to open your heart, expand your wealth, create more time, and give you motherfucking freedom. So, If you do not want to be stuck in that lack mindset again, if you want to not be the person that just absorbs one masterclass, tries one thing, it doesn't work, and then you go back to living in lack and keep wondering why things aren't happening to you, this is the way that you maintain your abundance. This is a 6-week course where I hold your hand through literally every single one of those steps, and I keep you on track to amplify that abundance. And you can find it at courses.witchywisdoms.com. So tell me if this sounds like you. You know you're living in lack. You basically said yes to every one of those 6 things. You've tried to focus on the positive, but you keep getting sucked back in. Again, because one masterclass here and there. Every time you try to manifest, it seems like you come against a new block. And you wish someone would just show you how to do it right. For this program, it keeps you on track and accountable for 6 weeks, helping you probe deep into your psyche, helping you surrender in a protected environment. Remember, I am going to be there with you. This is a group program setting. There's dripped contents. I'm going to be there actually holding your hand through this entire journey. And I'm the friggin' queen of abundance. You've seen what I've created for myself. Some of you guys have been with me from the beginning, when I started Witchy Wisdoms with like 30 followers. And now I have 24,000, a book from Cosmo, another book deal. I'm touring the country nationally with the 2nd book deal. Like, I know exactly how to get you from square one to being an abundant being. It shows you just how much is available to you right now. And this, again, this is the foundation. These are the building blocks, because a lot of these manifestation courses will literally just be like, okay, well, you need to clear out all your blocks and then you can start manifesting. And it's really not that simple. If you can master being abundant right now in this time frame and actually seeing how fucking much the world has to offer you, you're going to be a manifesting queen, no question. It helps you to access fulfillment. Literally, after 6 weeks, tell me you're not fulfilled by seeing everything that you have. And it creates a platform for manifestation beyond your wildest dreams. So we start February 17th, and I planned it this way because it's during Mercury retrograde, which is the perfect opportunity to reflect on your abundance journey. Mercury retrograde gets a really bad rap because we constantly want to go, go, go. We live in a mercurial world. We live in a world where we're constantly texting, we're constantly emailing, we're constantly communicating. And because of the communication planet going in that retrograde period, we're asked to stop and reflect. And instead, we want to just push through it. And that's why we're like, hey, Mercury retrograde, I missed my train, yada, yada. But honestly, if we just use this period to do all of the reflecting that we need to, we can actually manifest in a way that is so powerful that it's continuous. Again, if we continue to push on a foundation that isn't supporting our dreams, we burn out. If we push through this Mercury retrograde, you're going to have a shit time, and I promise you that. You're going to fail. But again, if we took this retrograde period to intentionally press pause and dig deep, you could amplify your abundance. Each module comes with a video training, a meditation audio, journal prompts, and a ritual. Module 1, we're creating space for gratitude. Remember all these tactics that I told you in the beginning of these slides? This is what we are unpacking. Module 2 is focused gratitude. Module 3 is finding abundance that's already in your life. 4 is breaking down your beliefs. This is where I really show you exactly how to do shadow work and bring you through it. Module 5 is worthiness, and Module 6 is clarity and intention. So it's jam-packed with value, and I literally haven't offered anything at this price point in ages. Like, it has been ages since I've had anything that's this low price. It's $677 early bird for a 6-week course, or 3 payments of $255 every 2 weeks. But if you sign up within the next 48 hours before midnight on the 8th, because you're watching this video, you can get an extra $100 off, which is only $577. So what you do, you'll go to courses.witchywisdoms.com and enter the code AA1111. All of that is in the top where I put in the title of the live video, so you can just copy paste if you want to do that. But first, let's see the magic in action. So these are testimonials from one of the first manifestation courses that I ever did back when Witchy Wisdoms was a wee baby. And I have grown exponentially since then. I'm almost 4 years in business. Like, I know what I'm doing. And you can just sense the energy from this first testimonial. Like, what if you could just like wake up in the morning and be like, this is fucking my year. I'm getting a home. How much, like, I love the energy in this testimonial so badly. Like, this is exactly the kind of energy that, like, you need in order to be abundant. Julie Burke, just feeling really good. And this was, again, it's a very similar program that I was running in the beginning, but I know so much more now. I've never run a program that has this much value for this price point at this stage in my career. So I do not have a testimonial specifically for it, but you'll see kind of like the flow of how it goes because we're having rituals as well. But like this is having somebody with an intentional plan and actually waking up and doing the work. This is some of the results coming from that. So teaching again from this was a $50 course. Just imagine how transformative this course is going to be. Receiving over 30 pounds or 25 pounds worth of food, like literally manifestations just coming in and out, and you can feel the energy of fulfillment and abundance in that. There's nothing to scoff at. And Jordan literally got into nursing school because of it. And again, this was a $50 challenge that I did in the beginning of my career. So just think of what's possible for you now. This was a client that I had personally, and she texted me all of these things, just finding money, manifesting left and right because we shifted her abundance so greatly. And honestly, too, you can see from all of my client wins because I teach from an abundant mindset. I teach mindset for business, and it transforms. So again, how you're going to sign up, courses.witchywisdoms.com, or you can go straight to the link that's in where the live is. Enter code AA1111 to get that $100 discount. And I can't wait to show you how to amplify your abundance. So now it's time for a Q&A. Again, I cannot see you guys. I can't turn on my my face, unfortunately. So it's just going to be me talking at you. But please do me a favor and ask any questions you like. You can ask it about the program. You can ask it about the 6 things keeping you in lack. I can give you directions for that. Tell me anything and everything that you want to know. I'm yours. And then as soon as this is over, I'm making myself some dinner. Also, I know we might be on a bit of a lag, so I'm going to wait just to see if anybody has questions. I also don't know if you guys can hear Guac, but he has definitely been active. He's so cute. He's 4 months. He's 4 months old, so he's got a lot of kitten energy. Okay, so first one, what is your greatest manifestation? My greatest manifestation is probably this business. I was in the service industry for about 15 years before Witchy Wisdoms, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I decided to start a blog and marry tarot with therapy, things that I was learning after were really, really like a lot of healing and a lot of growth, I started Witchy Wisdoms, which started as started as a blog rather, and then became an Instagram, then became a life coaching business, then became a business coaching business, and now I literally have, I'm going to hit 6 figures this year in my business, in my 3.5 years of business. I have 2 book deals, and there's actually 2 more behind the scenes. I'm touring the country nationally on this, touring the country. Of course, it's nationally. I'm touring the country on this 2nd book deal. I now live by myself. I manifested that, then to have enough money to get rid of my roommate. My greatest manifestation is honestly my life right now. So how we get into so that's what the course is going to teach you. It's going to teach you exactly how to break down. It's going to have you pinpoint your blocks first, because again, the self-awareness around it is what's first and foremost. And that's what this masterclass was mostly about, was telling you the 6 things that are keeping you from it. But in order to learn how to actually break those down, further than just the quick tips that I gave you, the course is really going to help you move through them, because we're going to give you journal prompts. We're going to give you actual practices that you can do, meditations, rituals, so that you can break them down intentionally. And more than anything else, it takes practice. And that's why you need the 6-week course, to make you stay on it and to embed it into your system and make it habitual. How long do you think letting go of lack, practicing all you taught today, starts to become your new normal? Okay, this is a great question. Practice makes progress, and nobody is the same. So it depends. It's kind of like, how do you, sorry, this cat is going crazy. Hey, Guac, stop it. Sorry. So this is almost like asking somebody, like, how long is it until you heal, or like until you're perfectly healed? No one's ever perfectly healed, and I don't think anybody is ever like the perfect, most incredible, non-lack human. It constantly takes practice. I can say pretty confidently now that it takes me maybe like a couple minutes reaction time to snap out of lack. Whereas I would be circling the drain for weeks, days. Actually, it was kind of like my whole thing. So in order to be like perfectly where I am now, it took me about 3.5 years. But I started manifesting all of this stuff right when I started learning about it. So it's hard to put a timeline on it, but that's why this 6-week course is so important, because every single day for 6 weeks, you're going to get these habits embedded in your system. If you put the work in, if you actually dedicate yourself to it. So having all of that happen for 6 weeks, I would really bet that it's going to become your new normal. All right. Any more questions? Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Good. Guac is now chasing his tail. I'm sorry, guys. I know this has been I'm telling you, it's this pre-shadow with the, like, the background noise, and, like, you can't see my face. But we're still good. We're still cooking. All right. Any more questions? If that's going to be all, I'm going to let you guys go, because this cat, I'm sure, is just definitely not the most amazing sound, guys. I have 3 black cats. Oh, so you know the crazy. Actually, he's a lot chiller than he was when he was a kitten. But he's having fun that I'm in here. Love that little block. Yeah, he's a good boy. Hi guys. Oh, how does one go about this when they are low SES or constant survival state? Okay. I don't know what low SES means, but if you're in a constant survival state, again, this is a lot about self-awareness, and it's a lot about that shadow work practice. So what you want to do is, every time you know that you're like triggered into survival state, or you're like basically it's like fight or flight almost. Give yourself time to react. If you're triggered, give yourself time to like feel through it, but then also reflect. And every single time you combat the like mammalian response with a reflection, then you start to rationalize, your brain then remembers, and you can start moving towards a more progressive and less like reactive state. Again, all of this is practice, and there's not going to be anything where you're going to just like automatically switch into abundance. It's gonna take time, but you are going to need to dedicate yourself to it. Low socioeconomic status, like working class. Well, listen, I think that everybody can still be abundant even if they're in a low socioeconomic status. I understand that there are extreme difficulties for a lot of people in this country and in this world. And I understand that the government does not make it easy on a lot of people. However, if we repeat the cycle by consistently saying how shitty it is instead of looking for ways to be grateful or feel fulfilled, we're only hurting ourselves. So even if you like barely have enough money to scrape by and feed your family, if you could at least say, I'm grateful that I have enough money to feed my family, you're then flipping the script and at least giving yourself some sort of empowerment so that you can then start to build off of it. Because if nothing's going to be different, right? If nothing's going to be different between like having the money, like if you only have a certain amount of money, right? And there's nothing different aside from your mindset, why wouldn't you choose the more abundant mindset? I hope that makes sense. Because again, like your mindset is really like the only thing that you have control over. And this is what it teaches you. This is what this class teaches you, is exactly how to switch from constantly beating yourself up and feeling down to actually like flipping the script and empowering yourself. Okay, good. I'm glad that to you. All right. Cool. I think that's it. Is that it for everybody? I only have about half of you left. And Guac found a toy. He's being real cute. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to. I don't think that there are any more questions, but I would absolutely love to host you in this program. It is honestly one of the best things that I've put together. That's why I created this masterclass, because I was just so inspired by it. Click this link that is in the comments up here. Use the code, sign up. It is the lowest price point I've had in ages. And you guys all to be abundant. You deserve to have an abundant mindset. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And also feel free to message me or DM me and ask me any questions about the program if you need to. And I will speak to you all later.